Hello, good evening, golf fans. We are back for another FanTeam Golf DFS show. Only two of us tonight. I am joined by the beautiful Mark Ferguson there. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, not bad. Having a bit of trouble with my mouse trying to replace Nick as director of the intro. Nick needs to come back to show us how to do that. Like, my mouse started playing up.
I was wondering when you were going to click go live, and then there's me trying to absolutely smash my laptop button, like to get us to go live, and then you'd already done it. So we nearly had a bit of technical issues.
Yeah, Nick, we need you back.
we do. I'm the worst person with technology. I end up I just punching the screen or something like that. That's my way of fixing something like that. So I'm terrible with stuff like that.
It's allegedly my profession, but there you go. But really good reasons that Nick can't be here, because we're celebrating on it, aren't we, Jack? Because Nick got engaged today.
We are, and
congratulations, Nick and Amy.
Yes, congratulations.
Amy,
Amy, you need a medal.
Yeah, and also blink twice, Amy, if you want to be rescued.
Nick finally added Amy to his season-long team. So
seriously,
there we go. Congratulations to the both of you. We're really happy for the pair of you. Mark, let's talk some golf and the PGA Championship. How did you do, sir?
Well, it was like I had a Mito-style roller coaster, I think. It's like, so yeah, I did terribly as a team. It was a really good tournament, though. I mean, amazing ending and stuff. Absolutely staggering. I couldn't see the very end, but it was a fantastic tournament. You and Nick did really well, though. So yeah, that was all.
I had an excellent week. Made a lot of money last week. I had Rory at 28-1 to be the first round leader, and then I had quite a bit of money on Mr. Tiger Woods to make the cut. I won't say how much out loud, but it was quite a bit. Thankfully, he gave me an almighty scare with that, I tell you, but thankfully he made the cut. And then he withdrew after round 3. He looked so done. It was horrible to watch, and everyone knows he's my golfing hero. So it was a horrible way for him to. I don't think we're going to see him again till the Open now. I can't imagine he plays the the US Open, which is in 3 weeks' time. I can't imagine him playing there.
Do you think he's really going to play again this season?
Yeah, I think he'll play the Open. I think he wants to play the Open, but it was horrible to watch, wasn't it? He was sweating. He was like, when he went over to the Sky Cart, he was literally using the Sky Cart to hold himself up, and it wasn't nice to watch. But fantasy wise, he did okay. Again, a bit of a roller coaster like you in the end. I had Mito as my underdog in most of my builds, actually, which was nice, but he had that major collapse coming down the stretch there. Understandable. He's never been in that position before. He's still a bit of a rookie on the PGA Tour, so understandable that he had that collapse. And JT pounced in the playoff. Zalatoris yet again loses another playoff. I can't remember what group I put it in, actually, about Zalatoris. And I mean, you're probably going and prove me wrong now and win the US Open, but I actually think Zalatoris is like the American version of Sergio Garcia. I don't know if he can get over the line, and I think it could take him a while to get over the line. That putting stroke, I mean, I don't want to talk about his putting because he was actually stat-wise very good at the PGA Tour putting, but it's horrible to watch when he gets inside 5 feet. It just looks like he's going to miss every time. And I think it was the Saturday that he missed a few putts. And but yeah, like I say, that was one of his better putting weeks stat-wise if you go and look at it. But it's horrible to watch, and he just doesn't look comfortable. I don't know. I just got. He reminds me of Sergio, because that's how Sergio Garcia was down. Like when Sergio Garcia was that sort of age, he was very good, always in contention at these tournaments, but could just never quite get over the line in the big ones. Obviously, Sergio eventually went and won the green jacket at Augusta National, but I'm not saying, Zalatoris might go and prove me wrong and do it at the US Open. I've got a funny feeling watching him that I could see him going down that path. And it's not I wish I could play golf like Will Zalatoris. I'm not mocking him or anything like that. I've got a funny feeling. It's very hard to win on tour. the PGA Tour. It's very hard to win on the PGA Tour, and let alone a major. Rory done his usual thing. He's 3 rounds, and he's 1 day of just what Rory does. It's just, I don't know when he's ever going to get over this. Like, the first day, I when he led the first day, I thought, okay, he dominated, because he dominated the course as well. He bullied. No one else bullied the golf course like Rory McIlroy did on that first day. And then the collapse come, and it was just, it's so predictable, isn't it, with him? Like, you just know, like, it's going to come. And someone messaged me the other day about it, saying about like, he's won all these majors in the past, etc. And like, you know, it's a great achievement. It is a great achievement. You know, it's hard. Again, it is hard to win majors, but you expect so much more of him because of just who he is. He's such a good golfer, and when he goes and bullies a golf course like that, like no one else could on day one. It was like watching Tiger. The way he bullied it, it was like watching Tiger on day one, and then he just done Rory, and then he come back in round 4, made me believe yet again. So I just,
it's the hope that kills you, Jack.
It is the hope that kills you. It's but it was a great event. I love those type of golf courses. That's proper golf, not what we saw at the Byron Nelson putting contest. That's proper golf to me. It needs to be a challenge. There was a big weather split. There was a massive weather advantage. If you had the AM PM split, it was a big advantage. But then you can say Justin Thomas come from the PM AM side of it, didn't he? And won the tournament. So there's that as well.
It the players? Wasn't it the players he did really well being on the wrong side of the split as well?
Yeah, he likes playing in the wind. I went back and done a few bits.
It's really weird.
Greg Norman was like that, actually. I was watching something earlier. Greg Norman was a very good player in the wind. He'd actually used the wind to his advantage. Like, a lot of golfers will try and take the wind on as such. Greg Norman would just be like, no, I'm just going to play the ball 40 degrees to the left if the wind's blowing left or right or such. As such. And I'm going to play the ball 40 degrees to the left and let the wind do the job, essentially, with the ball. But a great event. Really happy. And we move on to another good event this week. And similar scoring conditions again this week. Might be a little bit easier for the players this week. The average score when we get to it is about 14 under for this golf course coming up. But that's the average winning score, sorry. But it's going to be another tough week for these golfers, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. Just a quick thing about your Willie Z. I think he's going to win sooner rather than later. I just think that these younger golfers nowadays, they've got all these psychologists and stuff that work with them all the time and stuff. I think they're a bit more resilient, possibly. I know that's a bit daft to say about professional players, but more resilient than, say, they were in the past. So I think Willie Z will be fine. I think we're going to see an example of this with Vito, I think, as well.
Yeah. I did mean the major. I meant a major. I don't mean...
I agree. I agree. I'm still talking about majors. I think he'll win a major next 2 years. I do. Okay. Resilience, we're going to see it with Mito this week, which we'll talk about obviously a little bit later when we're doing this week's, lineups and course previews, etc. Whereas Rory, it's almost like he's got the yips. It's almost got he's got a sort of a 3-round, 1-round yips going on or something. Like, he just can't help himself, and it's got to be mental. It's got to be mental.
Actually, I don't know what it is, because we see it every time. We see it every time, don't we?
So consistent.
It's just, it's really not a knock on him, because if you look at his season already, the amount of top 10s he's had is amazing. But
and that's with that
we
bad
expect
round.
more of him. We expect more of him, to win these tournaments. And as I say, I've never ever seen a golfer bully a golf course except Tiger Woods, like Rory did on that first day. And like I sat here and watched that whole round. I thought Rory will go and win this if he plays like that for another round. He'll go and win it. I thought he should have had a bigger lead after the first round than he actually did, because he's
kind of what he needs, isn't it?
Seriously, he just bullied it. It was just, and I mentioned it last week with that golf course as well. It's set up for people that draw the ball well. Bubba Watson, another one. Obviously, we called that one on the show last week. He's going to miss a few weeks now. He's actually got an injury, torn meniscus, I believe.
Yeah, he got. Didn't he shoot a 63 with a torn meniscus? Just amazing, really.
Yeah. So, but great event, Mark. I loved it. It was really fitting for a major. I probably loved it more because of the money that I got back off of it as well.
Probably helps.
But I would have enjoyed that had I not had a penny on any of it. So the only thing I didn't enjoy was the 1 o'clock finishes, which is why I've got all these bags under my eyes and look really tired at the minute. I'm running on coffee. So
well, maybe we should do the show later, Jack. After all the football matches. Yeah, we don't have to worry about the football matches now, do we?
No, we don't. We can go whenever we like now, Mark. We can go at 3 p.m. on a Saturday if we like.
Yeah, we haven't even got a World Cup to worry about.
No, not till the winter. So, guys, I'm going to just talk to you about the little deal that we got with Fantasy National. So head over there at fantasynational.com/FanTeam. Get 20% off their packages over there. Me and Mark will be breaking down all the stats from there tonight. I'm actually going to give people my model numbers tonight, Mark, so people know what I'm using this week.
Oh, wow. What percentages and everything?
Yep, I'm going to give it out on the show tonight, so people know what I'm using.
Where's the paywall? Where's the paywall?
Where's the paywall?
Yeah.
So no, it's been working as of late. I've been refining it, and I think I'm finally getting there. So I'm going to give it out again tonight. It does go out within my own private newsletter as well. So sign up, so it's free. But head over to fantasynational.com/FanTeam, and you'll get 20% off any of their packages over there. Mark, let's take a look at our season-long team, and we have actually moved up, Mark, a little bit.
Whoa.
We've gone up to 209th in the world. Well, I think Will Zalatoris helped us out last week, most definitely.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler didn't, because he missed the cut.
Did not know,
unfortunately.
No.
But Mark, we now have 2 free transfers to use, and we've got 4 players that we can roll out this week already.
Okay.
The breaking news that we did have on before we come on the show tonight, is Shane Lowry, who we have in our team here, has actually committed to next week's Memorial tournament, and I believe he's playing. Is that 2 weeks straight for Mr. Lowry? I'm just going down the tracker here. Seeing if he's playing because it's the Canadian Open after the Memorial. No, he's not. He has played. That's why I thought he has played the Canadian Open before, but he's not actually in that field as it is. But we will get to use Mr. Lowry next week, Mark. So
does that give us 5 then with Lowry, or was the 4 with Lowry?
No, not this week. So it's just 4 this week.
Okay.
It's 4 without, because Lowry's not in. So we can get Smotherman, your favourite guy, off the bench there. I don't want to take Rory out either, because we can use Rory plays 4 straight events as of next week. He plays the Memorial, the Canadian, the US Open, and the Travelers Championship. So I don't want to take him out.
No.
Scheffler's got a nice schedule coming up, I think.
Yeah, Rory's not scoring. Sorry, Rory's not winning tournaments, but he's scoring lots of DFS points. So we want to keep him.
Most definitely. One that we take out, Mark. Yes, definitely. As I say, Scheffler's got a nice schedule. He doesn't play them, but he does play the Canadian Open, the US Open, and the Travelers Championship. So and he plays this week. Scotty Scheffler play this week, or is he withdrawn?
I don't think he's withdrawn, is he?
No, he does play this. He does play this week. Sorry, my eyes are terrible tonight. Yes, so he does play tonight. He does play this week. Sorry, so we can use Scotty Scheffler this week. I don't really want to take him out. I think I want to lose Xander Schauffele. All Xander Schauffele does is play next week, Mark. Doesn't play the Canadian Open, but will play the US Open. I think because I want to get some money as well. So for me, I think we take out Schauffele. I want to keep Rory because Rory's scoring well. Lowry's playing really well. We know that, and I want to keep him in there. Scheffler's the world number 1, and he's got a nice schedule coming up, so I'm not worried about that. Zalatoris, we know what he's doing at the minute. Obviously, we're not going to take out any guys that we're using this week. So
no,
I think we take out Schauffele and one of these guys off of the bench, maybe Swafford, and try and get some kind of middle of the pack guys, if you get what I mean, for the week.
Yeah, I agree. I think when I was looking at the planner earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think something's changed as I look, because I was going to suggest somebody in the middle like Lucas Herbert, but actually he's missing a week. I thought he had more weeks than that. Yeah, I think Xander's the one to lose. Like you say, the money would be handy, wouldn't it? Cam Smith's
Tom
a good
Hoagie's
one
an
next
interesting
week
one.
as well.
Plays this week, plays next. Yeah, Cameron Smith's got a nice schedule. Tom Hoagie plays this week, next week, misses the Canadian Open, but he has played the Canadian Open before, so he could very well play that. But he's in the US Open field as well. He's an interesting one. Varner's got he plays this week, but he doesn't play the Memorial, the Canadian. But then after that, he plays the US Open, the Travelers Championship, and the John Deere Classic. So he
Depends
could
on
be someone of interest this week.
For both these transfers, one of them you want to be like one of those who plays a lot, but the other one may be, because it's going to be cheap. Generally, it's going to be replacing a cheaper guy. Might be one we just need for a couple of weeks who we actually quite like in the Charles Schwab and the Memorial. And so you can go lots of ways with this, is what I'm saying. It's quite hard.
Favorite of mine. I've heard him being talked up.
Yeah. See, if I was going to pick a 2-weeker in the middle price, I'd pick a Chris Kirk for 2 weeks.
Yes.
But that's to say he doesn't play for a couple of weeks at the moment, the way things are.
Yeah. I don't like that. I mean, Max Homer's an interesting one. Flat 9 million there. He plays this week and next week, playing really good golf at the minute, and he plays the US Open. So you get 3 weeks out of 4 out of him.
4, yeah.
I think he's interesting.
He's great form at the moment, isn't he? So
yeah, I think he's an interesting one there.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think he is as well.
Obviously, we're not going to make any changes tonight, but we're not going to make any changes right now. No, we haven't got Nick, and we need Nick's permission before we do any of this. He will tell us off. So, but we have given you a couple of guys that we like within the season long there. What the kind of strategy is. I think it's time to move away from Xander Schauffele, personally.
I agree. He's in mine, and I'm getting rid of him this week. So,
yeah. Guys, if you want to send us any questions tonight, you're going to have to watch us on YouTube, and then you can send questions in via YouTube. Unfortunately, if you send them in via Twitter, we can't see them. Don't know what that's all about, but doesn't let us see them. And as Mark says, me and Mark are not very good with technology. So,
God, I hope my bosses aren't watching.
I'm definitely not very good with technology. I will, as I say, a punch to the screen is how I fix things on laptops. So, Mark, this week we move on to Colonial Country Club for the Charles Schwab Challenge, which is its official name. Colonial Country Club is in Fort Worth, Texas. It's a Perry Maxwell design. Again, that's what we had last week, Perry Maxwell design. Par 70, and it's 7,209 yards long. It's Bermuda fairways and rough around here. The rough's a little bit thicker this week than what we saw last week. You get tree-lined fairways down this one as well. So not as wide open as last week. Accuracy is going to be key. We're going to look at the stats in a minute, obviously. Bent grass greens, very unpredictable. Small greens as well, very small greens. Again, accuracy, approach, stuff we're going to be looking at. There's water hazards in play on 6 of the holes around here. But it is a nice start. You do get that 2 tee time start where you get guys going off 1 and 10. But if the guys going off of 1 are not making birdies on the first 2 holes, they're in trouble because they're the 2 easiest holes on the golf course. Percentage-wise, they just yield birdies, those 2 holes. It gets hard, though, at hole 5, which is the hardest hole on the golf course. It's a par 4, 481 yards long. About 23.2% of bogeys are made at that hole. Lots of dog legs again on this hole, like what we saw last week. This golf course. This golf course will suit people that draw the ball. Left-handers in particular love like these golf courses. Again, this is in Texas as well. There's something about Texas with native Texans that play well in Texas, Mark. Jordan Spieth is one. We're going to talk about the players in a minute, but that's the course. It's a tricky course. It's not easy. Guys going in the rough. There is bunkers here. The bunkers are easy to get out of. They're not challenging really at all. But small greens, water hazards, and rough. The rough is the danger. You go in that rough, that Bermuda rough. You saw it last week at the PGA Championship. If you go in that rough, the ball does weird things when it's coming out of it. So, again, accuracy and approach is key. Mark, are you looking at the same things as me this week?
I am. What I'm really pleased about this week is it's the first week in what seems like ages where we've got lots of course history, which is relevant. That's Texas. Really great. Yeah, lots of course history because this tournament's been going for like 75 years or something like that. So, my model is all about approach, mainly about approach. That's the biggest, most important stuff for me. Driving accuracy combined with off the tee to create my own sort of ball striking sort of stat. Some par 4 scoring because there's 12 par 4s in here and stuff. Only 2 par 5s. And because you and Nick convinced me last week, some of the putting inside of 10 feet as well is important to me. One thing I just wanted to mention, though, and hopefully I'm not going to, well, it doesn't matter. We disagree about all sorts of things. Hopefully this doesn't contradict anything Jack's going to say. Around the green here really hasn't been a thing in the past. Last year, 17 of the top 30, including the winner, were all negative around the green. So those are sort of players you don't have to worry too much about the around the green stats, I don't think, or driving distance particularly for this week. But driving distance is always handy, isn't it?
It is handy. It's not the longest of golf courses.
No.
This golf course is a positional golf course. I can't remember what golf course it was a few weeks back where I said patience was the key, and that's kind of what this is. This place will not suit bombers of the golf course. I believe. I know Bryson has withdrawn now, but I saw a stat on him earlier that he'd missed like 4 out of 5 cuts here, where he's tried to overpower the golf course. So people that try and do that are going to find themselves in trouble very, very quickly. Okay, here it is.
Hold on a minute, Jack. Just quickly on that point. Sorry, quickly. Driving distance though can be important because it often relates to an increased clubhead speed, which sometimes, if you're in the rough and stuff, can be handy. So as long as these drivers can control it, that's kind of the thing, isn't it? So just to play that. Anyway, Jack, the floor is all yours.
Well, apparently it's all about Jordan Spieth this week.
That's it. The show's over.
We'll get onto we'll get onto the players in a minute. There is certain guys that like this course a lot. So here we go. You want the model? Here it is. Strokes gained off the tee, 7% weighted into that. Good drives, 12% weighted into that. Fairways gained, 10% weighted into that. Strokes gained on approach, 20% weighted on that. Again, that's the key thing for me around this place. Proximity, 125 to 150. There's 5% weighted into that. Proximity, 150 to 175. I've got 7% weighted into that. I think that's the key one this week. There's going to be a lot of shots from that 150 to 175 range into these small greens. Proximity 175 to 200 because there is a long par 5 on this golf course as well. So I just wanted to put a little bit of that in. I've weighted that in at 3%. Strokes gained around the green is weighted on 6%. I know you said it's not that important, Mark, but I just if you're going to miss these greens, it's important that you can get up and down. Definitely. Strokes gained putting I've weighted in at 12%. I've also got my putting stats from last week. So your 0 to 5 foot, I've got up to 8%, and 5 to 10 foot at 5%, and opportunities gained this week, Mark, at 6%. That's my model. And do you want to know the player off the bat that it threw out at number 1? Or can you guess?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. It'll be slightly different to mine, I think. Slightly different to mine. It's going to be, or I'll try an Abe answer.
You're saying Abe answer. I do like Abraham answer this week.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for you, no. It
I don't
is
lose, is it?
Justin Thomas, last week's PGA champion.
He's never going to do it again. He's not doing it.
We've got another question. No, similar course to Harbour Town, is it? Yes, it is. It does, again, driving accuracy down the middle. Got to be accurate around this place. The tree line fairways, definitely similar. It's one of the comp courses I've put up for this place. So yeah, definitely similar to Harbour Town, what we saw a few weeks ago at the RBC Heritage, Mark.
Well, that was all
Mark,
yeah,
I'm gonna shut up and let you have a go now.
Oh, thanks. Should we do some lineups?
Yes,
let's do some lineups. Let's do some lineups. Here we go. Can we see that? Is that on the screen? Yep, good. So here we are, lineup screen. Scotty Scheffler, number 1, 22.6 million. Justin Thomas, last week's winner. Colin Morikawa, Jordan Spieth, Willie Zalatoris, and then Victor Hovland. That makes up your 6 above 20 million. I think I wouldn't be. We didn't talk about this at the beginning, but I genuinely would be surprised if one of these doesn't drop out before Thursday.
Yeah, a lot of these guys went deep into. I mean, Victor Hovland made the cut, didn't he, at the PGA Championship, went all the way, and I mean, he was right at the back end of the pack. But I think there's going to be a withdrawal.
Yeah, I think so too, which is why it's so important to do your season-long teams as late as you can, and obviously keep an eye on your teams, your other teams, DFS teams, you put them in. Anyway, the number 1 in my models in this lot, Jack, want to care to guess who it is?
One in your model. I'm gonna. Who did you go down to? Zalatoris, or you went to Hovland?
Yeah, Hovland. Hovland. Top 6.
I'm going to just say Zalatoris.
Nah, Morikawa this week. He's number 1.
Have you got yours set to bent grass? Because if I set mine to bent grass, my model, it chucks him out as number 1 as well.
Yeah, no, it's not so much that, because actually his putting can generally be a bit volatile. But he's so good at everything else. If he has just one of his spike weeks with his putter, or even average, he's just going to be there, isn't he? For me, he's first in ball strike in the last 20 rounds, first in greens and regulation, 4th in approach, and 4th in par 4 scoring. He also he's getting talked up quite a lot generally. He's got a good history here, the 2nd and the 14th. Up until last week's 55th, he's actually had a pretty good run of results, and I think this is going to be his week.
It could be. I mean, all of these guys up here are great, right? Like I do worry.
We say that every week, don't we? Yeah.
They are, aren't they? Like the best golfers in the world at the end of the day. Like they don't need talking up these guys. Well, certainly not by us, really. But like you say, Morikawa's got good course history. JT is okay. He's had the top 10 here as well. My model's actually throwing out Victor Hovland at number 2. I was not impressed with well. What I think it's doing that because he's green all over the board. So strokes gained off the tee, 2nd. Strokes gained on the approach, he's 2nd in this field. This is I've said it to over the last 50 rounds now. This is what I'm doing every week now. I listened to that Pat Mayo podcast again. I know we keep mentioning that, but go and listen to it. It's really, really good, insightful podcast. So I've just set mine over to 50 rounds now. Strokes gained approach, Victor Hovland's number 2 in the field. Proximity from that 175 to 200 range, he's 2nd. The key one, the proximity from 150 to 175, he's 8th. Opportunities gained, he's 2nd in this field. The one that sticks out like a sore thumb, though, Mark, is that strokes gained around the green. He's 119th in this field. It's red. I don't like what I'm seeing. It's chucking him out as number 2. Again, we multi-enter, Mark. Would I have shares? Yes, of course. But I'm not confident. He's played this golf course once before. He tied 23rd in 2020 there. So he's, relatively good course history here. But I'm just going to find it hard to get there with him based on what I saw at the PGA Championship. And some of the other guys, JT is prime for a withdrawal, I think. Zalatoris could withdraw as well. Spieth loves this place.
Yeah, I don't think he's good for it.
Well, no, most certainly not. I mean, in the last 5 years, there's been 2 runner-up finishes from Jordan Spieth. I'm sure he's won this tournament in the past as well. So,
yeah, I think
Jordan Spieth.
He's played it 9 times, and 8 times he's been 15th or better.
Yeah, I just think he'll be super chalky, but yeah, I think I would. I mean, again, he's not popping within my model, but
no, mine neither.
He's 52nd within my model. I just had to search him. That's how much he's not popping. Will I have shares most definitely, but just because of the course history. But and again, it's something we should mention. Actually, we didn't mention it earlier in the show about chalk hitting. Justin Thomas was the chalk last week, and it hit, and so was Cameron Young. And I think we're finding this more and more with golf DFS. The chalk is hitting on a regular basis at the minute. As I say, I've just named 2 guys there that absolutely. I mean, they were both nailed on last week. Zalatoris was another one. All 3 of those guys were highly owned, and they all hit. So, yeah, I'm wary of the guys that went deep last week, but I just find it easier to build from below this range again, and we say that every week as well.
Yeah, I think I've got the same. Spieth is like 16th in my model. It's mainly the putting which has let him down. On everything else, he's pretty good. The thing about the chalk is it's possible. Like last week, you said we wouldn't play Cameron Young because he was going to be so chalky, considering how volatile he can be. But maybe we just need to sort of eat this chalk and just get different other places. Maybe that's what we need to do. Reevaluate a little bit going forwards.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I do think you can eat certain chalk, most definitely. I mean, like last week, we built a couple of the lower owned teams, didn't we, Mark? And Tyrrell Hatton, for one, was someone who played really well at the PGA Championship, very low owned. I think he was like 8% or something like that. Very low owned. He had a good week. So, yes, it's about balancing it, isn't it? At the end of the day, I don't really know who's my favorite. I haven't really give you an answer who's my favorite out of the top there, and I think it's Spieth on the course history, but I don't want to play him.
The problem is you go to all that effort with the model and stuff. You really want to feel some loyalty towards the model. In which case you wouldn't play Spieth. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with Morikawa. If the other thing I would say is, if I get the feeling that Scheffler's going to be under-owned because he missed the cut last week, and it's potentially he's dipping, or reverting back to norm because he's been in such good form. But if he's low-owned, I may well be more interested in him then.
Yeah, definitely. Back to Morikawa's 4th in my model this week, so he's high up in my model. So I think our models are similar to some in some respect, anyway. Like say, if I set mine to bent grass, he's number 1. So
yeah, and I was all over Hovland last week. So, yeah, maybe I was all over Hovland when I played last week. I bet him and all these things and stuff. And I still think it's Morikawa then Hovland for me if I was going to do 1-2 here. But if you're multi-entering, you've got to play Spieth.
Yeah, definitely.
You've got to be. I think I'll be fading JT though, personally.
Yeah, I think I'm fading JT and Zalatoris just because it's brave to fade Zalatoris, but they just both went so deep, and it must have took so much out of them both that last week.
You can't play them all. You have to play a lot of lineups to play them all. So
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at the next part, which is usually where we get most excited. We've got 19.6 million Sam Burns, Abraham Hanser, Max Homer, Tony Finau, Sung Jae Im, who's back, Daniel Berger, Taylor Gooch, Webb Simpson, Tommy Fleetwood, Billy Horschel, and Mito Pereira. Who do you want to talk about first here, Jack?
It's Abraham Hanser. He's my favourite play in this. I like what I saw. I think we've got Abraham Hanser back that we saw last year, Mark, when me and you were talking golf DFS with each other. I think we've got that Abraham Hanser back. He came 9th last week at the PGA Championship. Similar style golf course. Very impressive. He's 9th in my model. He's got good course history here. 2 top 15s in the last 2 years here. He's just green across the board. The only place that he's losing strokes in the last 50 rounds is around the green. And we've mentioned that not being as important this week. I still think it is important to get up and down where possible, but I mean, he's popping everywhere else. He's ninth from the good drive stats, fairways gained, he's fifth. He's just a consistent player, and I'm buoyant on just after what we saw last week, Mark. That was what I saw last year from him. Sorry, so he's the number one guy for me. I think I'm going to have up here.
Yeah, I think obviously historically, as soon as you come to one of these courses where distance isn't that important and accuracy is your Abe Answer, but he's not been in great form, but now he is. I think I'm exactly the same. He's third in my model. He's in my stats, he's unsurprisingly second in driving accuracy. Actually, second in putting as well for the same short period. So, I'm just lumping on him basically. I don't see any reason why not to. I think. Should we just talk briefly, though, because we did talk a little bit about this on WhatsApp earlier today. Mito Pereira, he's actually, from a stats point of view, sixth in my model. He's got some great stats, but do you think he's going to be affected by last week's events?
I mean, he's third in my model. I thought he dealt with it very well. He spoke very well after losing it the way he lost it.
I do an interview just after that's happened to him. It's just amazing, really.
It's amazing, and I mean, if you go back over his last events, Mark, he's only missed the cut at the Players' Championship, and we all know what we think of that event from the weather standpoint of it. But if you're looking at time, I mean, there's a 13th at the Valero Texas Open. Again, I wouldn't call that a comp course to here, but it's in Texas. It's got those tree line fairways, things like that. The Byron Nelson, he was 17th out with a putting contest there. The PGA Championship, he was obviously third. Should have won it most likely, but I was very impressed with the way he dealt with it. I think if anyone can do it, it's him. Again, what has it taken out of him, though? That's the only worry. We multi-enter, Mark, so yeah, I will have shares of Mito. And, there's at some point you have to trust your model at the end of the day, what you've built. And, I will have shares of Mito. I do worry that would have took a little bit more out of him than what we think, though.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about Mito is he's been doing well on different types of courses as well all year. And I don't think a week goes by we don't mention him. We definitely mentioned him last week. You always do.
Mentioned him last week.
Yeah, exactly. I think last week we mentioned almost all of the top six. But anyway, so I think if I was only playing a single lineup, I might avoid him. But if you're multi-entering, definitely the stats are just too good, aren't they?
Good. What's your thoughts on Webb Simpson? Made the cut last week, finished 20th.
Yeah, he hasn't registered at all. So let me just quickly check my model. He's 18th in my model, and let's see. Try and work out why. He's really consistent across. He's very consistent without anything majorly sort of standing out. But
that's not a bad price to have, is it? That's a cut maker at the end of the day, isn't it? What you're seeing there with the stats.
It's ridiculously because other than putting on mine, which is like mine's last 16 rounds, other than putting, it's so consistent. It's birdie.
I just found it interesting. Similar golf course to last week, same designer. He handled it well there. I thought he played quite well at the PGA Championship when I saw him. I just thought I'd mention him before we got off this page. I kind of like him.
Again, I like Max Homer as well on here. Like we talked about him for the season long and stuff. Again, could play him. Webster's just one of those players. Exactly. Webster's is just one of those players I just don't really play that much. I don't know why that is.
I look at him as a better version of Adam Scott. If you get what I mean.
Me and Nick love Adam Scott. So
I do.
And he let us down again last week.
Daniel Berg is an interesting one. He's first in this field over the last 50 rounds on strokes gained on approach. He's 8th in my model, but he missed a cut last week. Come 21st at the Heritage, and we're calling that a comp course. So it's the putting that's letting him down within that key range as well, Mark, that we are looking at a little bit more now on.
I'm scrolling down. Well, I still haven't found him on my model, so forget it. But you might, if you got a good case for it, he didn't make the cut last week. I think in this range with all the other players around him, he could be a good low-owned play.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of plays in it. And Sung Jae's back after his quarantine and stuff. So
Daniel Berg actually won this event as well. Just
yes, that's right.
He won in 2020.
So yeah, there's so many other players around there though. That's the thing that I think which I think I'd rather play. But Mita Pereira on the first page, Jack. That must be the first time that's happened all year.
Definitely. It's got you excited.
Yeah, she moved to the second page. And, we've got Davis Riley. I saw Bryson's dropped out. Kevin Na, Jason Kokrak, last year's winner. Chris Kirk, Gary Woodland, Brian Harmon, HV3 and Seabez. Should we stop at Seabez? Yeah, let's stop at Seabez.
I love this page here already. Looking at I can make a case for a lot of these guys. Davis Riley played really well last week at the PGA Championship.
It's ridiculous. His form is ridiculous, isn't it?
I know. I'm really annoyed with myself.
5th and 4th, and we haven't mentioned him, I don't think, any other week.
Mark, I'm really annoyed with myself because he actually popped within my I always refine my model. So you should really sign up to my newsletter because it is that is my last model that I use. I always refine it on the last day, and he was actually in my top 10, and I didn't play him. So I'm really annoyed with myself for not doing that. Sometimes you just need to trust the model. But yeah, he played so well last week. Sorry, Kevin Na's another one, isn't he? He's a very good iron player, Kevin Na, and he's just consistent, making cuts. Like from the Masters, he's made all these cuts, and they've all been outside of the Mexico where he come 42nd. Like all the others have been top 30 finishes. He come 26th for the Heritage. We're using that as a comp course. He was 26th last week at the PGA Championship. He's a former winner at this event, Kevin Na. Back in 2019, I believe he was 4th the year before in 2018. It's good course history around here. He's 11th in my model this week. He's second in that. He's second in the range that I think is key, Mark, which is the proximity from 150 to 175. So I like Kevin Na. I can make a case for all these guys here. Jason Kokrak won it last. Like I really could. Like it's such a nice page now. Like we didn't have this last week, did we? Page 2. We didn't like it at all. And
last week was hard to make the sort of roster constructions that we like.
Yeah.
I think
Chris Kirk's another one. Come 5th last week, and it was a good 5th as well because he was struggling in the first couple of days, Chris Kirk, and he come back fighting and got himself into 5th position to finish that up.
Fantastic.
So go on, Mark. I'm going to let you because I'm going to steal all the players here.
No, well, you can steal them all. It's funny. I was just saying quickly about Chris Kirk. He's had, as you can see on the page, a fifth and a 7th this year in last 11 tournaments. Obviously 3 missed cuts as well, but these are the players we like for DFS. I was going to say Na is 4th in my model and Kirk is 5th in my model.
Yeah,
I really like him at this. I also, Brian Harmon's 9th in my model as well. He's got he's decent form. He's 10th in driving accuracy, 2 top 10s in the last 5 years here. So another one you can make a case for. Like you say, they're so good. I've got notes on HV3 as well.
Yeah.
The stat I got from another pod was he's the best in the field on par 3s over 190 yards, and all the par 3s here over 190 yards. And the others in the top 10 who are playing here, 3 of them have all won the event, which would imply it's fairly. Sorry.
No, exactly. Yeah, this is
exactly. So
it's a nice page.
Yeah, so it's a fairly correlative stat, so it seems. So yeah, the I've built some teams already I've had, I think, Harmon as my underdog because you can just pick players from here. It's just such a nice area.
I haven't really mentioned it yet, but Seabez is popping within my model. He's actually 7th within it, but he did miss the cut last week, and I'm worried that he's probably. I think I get to there, and I worry that he may be suffering from a little bit of burnout. He's played a lot of golf tournaments this year already, 11 events played.
At the beginning of the
It's an
year,
impressive record.
Yeah.
Go on.
Sorry, he's still got 12th. Like at the putting contest, he got 12th.
Yeah, no, but it's 11 events played, and he's only missed the cut twice all year. So like,
yeah,
he's been good. I just worry he might be suffering from a little bit of burnout. So I think if I get to Seabears, I think that's kind of my cut-off point there. That I don't like this page as much from Seabears. But
yeah, I think. We will talk about that then. So under that is Munoz, Sebastian Munoz, Justin Rose, Cameron Shingali, Tom Hoagie, CT Pan, if he makes it, Patrick Reed, Maverick Manili, and Kevin Kisner. So you're not keen on anything down here particularly?
There's guys I like down here. I like Tom Hoagie. I like Munoz. Munoz come third here last year. He's not particularly sticking out within my model. Again, it's probably because of that putting stat from the 5 to 10 foot range. He's he's actually 100th in the field over the last 50 rounds within that stat. So yeah, it's not great, but he can bully a golf course sometimes, Sebastian Munoz, and he should have won the Byron Nelson. Most definitely should have won that event. Made the cut last week as well at the PGA Championship. So it's not. I believe he's actually made most cuts this year, has he not? 8 out of 9 cuts he's made this year, Sebastian Munoz. So that's a bit more consistency within his game. I don't mind him. I do really like what I saw from Justin Rose last week. He looked back. But I don't know if I can get there just yet. I think I might need to see one more week of it, Mark.
Yeah,
but
3 cuts and then
back.
that. Yeah.
I mean, there's no point in me even looking for him within my model because he's not going to stand out within this model at all. The one that does stand out is Tom Hoagie. He's 5th in my model, Tom Hoagie. 1st in that proximity from 175 to 200 range. He's 4th in strokes gained on approach in that. 3rd on strokes gained on approach over that 50 round period there. He's 11th in good drives, 15th in that proximity 150 to 175 range, which for me is key this week. Yeah, I think Tom Hoagie is the one I like the most here. And again, another one that I thought played really, really well last week.
Yeah, for me, same as you a little bit. The quality drops off a bit here. I've got Kevin Kisner as 10th in my model. He's a previous winner. He's 7th in driving accuracy. His stats look okay. He has missed the last 2 cuts though. So,
last
like
3.
you say, yeah, is it 3? Is it okay? As the model, I've been talking about other stats which aren't included in my model and stuff here tonight and stuff. And again, this might be one of those adjustments I make. But he does appear 10th in there at the moment. But for me, there's a lot better options below this, and this is our dead zone this week. I think bottom of page 2.
Yeah,
I think if we end up with lineups we're having to go there, we'll just change the construction.
I will have Tom Hoagie in lineups most definitely, but he doesn't have good course history here. He has missed the cut the last 2 times he's played it, and before that he'd made the cut, but he was nowhere to be seen. So it doesn't. It's not a course that stands out for him, but he's popping within the model.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll move on to page 3. Who do you like in the top half here? I'm not going to start reading all the names now because we're getting further down. I'm not even sure. You, as we said already, you don't even have to go down this far if you really don't want to build lineups this week.
I really don't like this page at all.
No, there's literally nobody on the page showing at the moment. I've got a note on because I don't like them.
No.
On this page at all, do you read it or literally just the top half?
Well, Joel Damon's actually sticking out. He's 15th in my model. Good. He's 8th within good drives over the last 50 rounds. 8th with fairways gained over the last 50 rounds. He's green everywhere else. The only place he's losing strokes over that period is around the green. So I don't mind Joel Damon. I'm not too sure on his course history is. I should get that up. So, but he did miss the cut last week. I mean, weird. Tied 20th in 2018, missed the cut in 2019, tied 19th in 2020, missed the cut in 2021. So technically, he should make the cut this year if you go by that.
Yeah, and be top 20, which would be pretty good for that price.
Yeah, so maybe I think I might get to him. Aaron Rye's been hitting the irons well, hasn't he, lately as well? Haven't seen him since the Byron Nelson, though. He was 46th there.
Right.
Yeah, Stuart Sink.
He got old school here.
Mate, no, he played really well last week at the PGA Championship. I mean, he was on page 1 of the leaderboard at one point last week. Before that, at the Wells Fargo, he was 9th, 68th for the RPC Heritage. So there might be a little bit of consistency coming back into his game because he's made the last 3 cuts. I mean, if you look at the stats, he's 94th within my model. So the stats are just not going to tell you anything pretty. But sometimes you just have to look how a golfer's playing. And he has been playing better as of late. Hasn't played here since 2018, where he come tied 58th, but he did come tied 10th in 2017. So perhaps he likes his place. Who knows? I would find it so hard to play him, though. I think, Mark. But
yeah, he's literally not come. Not even on my radar here. So my actual
Cameron Davis, who come third at the RBC Heritage.
For me, I've got one play here. I don't need to struggle. So he's my favourite play, value for money wise, in the whole tournament. I've actually bet him already multiple times, and that's JJ Spawn. He's actually 7th in my model. He's 12th in driving accuracy, 11th in ball striking. He's won at the Valera this year, so we know he can win. I just think of 14.4. I think he's very good value. He's a classic DFS player as well because he'll miss the cut or will do pretty well.
How about
I was looking at him. Yeah, I was looking at him for my season long as well. 13th last week.
And he's not sticking out with him. Well, he's not sticking out in the model. He's 99th again, but within the putting, in the clutch putting range, he's second in 5 foot to 10 foot range. Over the last 50 rounds, that is. I don't know what his course history is like around this place. Let's just get that up. There is no course history.
At this price, you're kind of hanging your hat on one thing, really. If this price they do one thing well, as it were, that's as good a reason to pick them. Because they're cheap for a reason, aren't they?
Yeah. Nate Bashley's another one down there. He's made a few cuts this year, but missed the one at the Heritage again, using it as a comp course. You don't like to see that when they're missing cuts at comp courses. Yeah, I don't really like this page, if I'm brutally honest, Mark.
No, I do. I like Spawn. I say I bet him. He's doing very well. But yeah, I mean, he's the only name I've actually got down around here. I've actually got 2 other names even cheaper than this. So have you got anybody else on any later pages you want to talk
James
about?
Hahn, only because he nearly cost me a lot of money.
Who's that? Sorry, who's that?
Of weeks. James Hahn.
Oh, got you. Yeah.
Yeah,
got it.
Ninth at the Byron Nelson, 9th at the Wells Fargo Championship. The Wells Fargo Championship's a tough golf course. Again, not really sticking out within the model. He's 25th in good drives over the last 50 rounds, 26th in fairways gained. Thereabout, that's all that's sort of standing out. He ranks 67th within my model. Again, sometimes when you get down to this range, you just have to ignore the stats and things like that. You just have to see what that golf has been doing over the last 3 or 4 weeks. James Hahn's been playing really well. He, as I say, he nearly cost me a lot of money at the Byron Nelson when I thought he was going to go and win. So yeah, I don't mind him. Russell Knox actually sticks out again. We talk about him all the time, Russell Knox, don't we?
But it was because he used to be a cut maker, and last 3 out of 4 he hasn't made the cut. So
no, but he sticks out within the model. He's 10th within my model over the last 50 rounds. 1st in good drives, 4th in fairways gained, 11th in that proximity 150 to 175 range. Again, just strokes gained off the tee. He's 18th. Yeah, it's the missed cuts, isn't it? Maybe like just because he's sticking out within the model, this is the other scale of it, right? Like we've just said, James Hahn is at one end of the model, and now we're looking at Russell Knox is at the other end. This is just the other scale of it. Just because he's sticking out in the model doesn't mean I really want to play him. You have to go back and look what he's been doing, and it's 3 missed cuts out of the last 4 events. So you do not like to see that at all. But does have good course history. It come tied 8th in 2019, so but has missed 2 cuts after that as well. So yeah, it does get hard down here, doesn't it?
I've got 2 names still. Lucas Glover is on this page. He's let me get my stats up. He's 13th actually in my model. He's 6th off the tee, 12th in ball striking. His putting's let him down, but that's obviously why he's 13.6 million. If you can just find something with his putter, even if it's just average, it's pretty good value. He was 8th here last year. So for that sort of price, these sort of things, again, you hang your hat on. He's actually been pretty good, consistent cut maker, really, for his price, I think. So, yeah. And I've actually got somebody on page 5, even, which is Brian Stewart.
Well.
Yeah, I've got Brian Stewart
here.
here.
Yeah, I like Brian Stewart.
Yeah, he's made the cut the last 5 years, 15th in my model. And actually, in my model, for the number of rounds I choose, he's actually first in driving accuracy. So again, you say you just need something for these cheap players. You just need something, to give you hope. So yeah, I'm quite happy with both of them.
Talk to me about Grillo. Last 5 years, 4 cuts made, 2 top 10s. Yep. I tell you, sticking out of my model, Mark, your boy.
Mm-hmm. Is he?
Austin Smotherman. He's 18th.
Is he?
18th within my model. It's green across the board, really. The only place, again, losing strokes is around the green. Doesn't have no course history there. So, yeah, I don't mind Smotherman this week. He's made the last 4 cuts at the events that he's played at. So, seems to be getting a bit more consistency within his game. He missed that cut at Corrales when we was all on him, Mark.
Yeah. That's typical of the only cut he makes, isn't
it? But yeah, I don't mind Austin Smotherman. Denny McCarthy's another one down there. I mention Denny McCarthy every week. If you're an amateur golfer, just go and watch that guy putt. He's brilliant. He's just clutch. It's just absolutely clutch putter. There's loads of guys like down there you can use. I think Lucas Glover is another one. Pat Kaziri, you want to go back there? I mean, he missed the cut, didn't he, at the Valero? He comes 75th last week, Mark. That must have been, pretty much dead last after making the cut. But at least he made the cut. He comes 26th for the RPC Heritage as a comp course there, so you don't mind to see that from Kaziri. He's down there. What about Figala?
So he registered with me. For 3.2
constant
million.
Cut maker though.
Yeah, well, for 13.2, if he enables you to get something else.
6 cuts made out of his last 6 events. So
that's pretty.
Yeah,
to that value, to that price, that's fantastic value, isn't it?
Most definitely down there at that price. I mean, just when you get down there, sometimes we've said it already. Just have to ignore the stats and look what the guys are doing on the golf course, and if they're making cuts, then at that value down there, they're great value. McCarthy seems a bit underpriced this week. Well, as a Denny McCarthy fan, I would totally agree with you on that. I love watching Denny McCarthy. He played really well because he was a really late entrant into the PGA Championship last week. He came in for Bryson, didn't he? So he took Bryson's spot. Look at the cuts made. He's made every cut since the Phoenix Open.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be one of my favourite players again this week.
Yeah, 13.8 as well. I mean, if he makes the cut as your underdog, poof. Yeah, I think we should probably start building some lineups, don't you think?
Let's do it. Let's go for it, Mark.
Yeah, I think so. So let's do our first line. Should we do the easy lineup for us, which is like basically start on page 2?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Who are we picking for the top here? We're taking Riley, Nah, Kirk.
Riley, Nah, Kokrak, and Kirk.
Riley, Nah, Kokrak, Kirk. And we've got,
what's that left?
We've got 34, so we've still got. So we could put in, say, a Harmon or a Varner and then move on to the next page.
Let's put in Varner.
Yeah. And then we've got 18.2.
Oh, it gets us in that dead range there. I don't like
that. That's that dead bit, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe drop.
Maybe take out Kokrak. Mind you saying that, we've seen people win back-to-back twice this year, haven't we?
I would have thought we'd get rid of Varner, go down to one of the other guys, and then go back up again.
Yeah, okay. Who do you want to go down to? Hoagie?
All right, yeah. See what we get with Hoagie. What we got? 18.6. I think we're still in that dead range.
Yeah, I don't like that range. I don't want to play Sanjay either.
No, let's move down. Was anybody? This was the page we had nobody. I mean, I had people I liked, but
just sticking Denny McCarthy as the underdog.
Yeah, that's true. Let's do him. Let's do him. Consistency. Oh, there you go. 20.2 million. We're going to be all right.
Who did you take out?
HV3.
Okay.
Which is the cheapest one out. That allows us to have Hovland or Answer.
I think I'd want to play Answer.
Yeah, me too. I think Answer would be the captain there as well.
What if we could we then get up to? So do like Varner this week.
Do you like Varner? Yeah, okay, fine. Get rid of one of the others. I just got rid of him because he was the last one we put in.
Oh no, okay, no, leave it like that. Leave it. We can put Varner in another lineup. Leave it like that. Who would you captain that? Answer.
I'd captain Answer there. Yeah. I think, but I could make a case for captaining a few of them. To be honest,
I think I could make a case for captaining Kokrak. Just to, like we've seen it twice this year. Like 2 guys have won the same event back-to-back years. So we've seen that twice. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, no. You could make a case for captaining all of them, can you? Okay, let's clear that off. We'll put in Varner now for the next lineup.
Yeah.
Do you want to get one of the big boys in here as well, or at least
one of the? You mentioned let's get Morikawa in.
Yes,
he's popping within both our models in, isn't he? So we put Morikawa in.
We both, in terms of cheap guy, really cheap. We both played Stewart, didn't we? If you want to really go down for a cheap guy, I think he'll end up being the underdog. I think.
I would hope so.
So just So again, we got just over 16. So you could again put.
How about
a few of these?
We go back to page. I was going to say go back to page 1, right at the bottom. Should we just put Mito in?
Yeah, he's statistically too good to ignore. And then you got 260. That's like Kirk and Harmon or Seabears and Kokrak.
I think it's Kirk and Harmon personally.
Yeah, I know we got him in the other one, but it's too good, isn't it? And then I'd captain Morikawa in that lot, but this is gonna be another week where I want to play more lineups than I want to play because you could do so many combinations.
It's too easy to build, isn't it? Should we just build like a proper Stars and Scrub one now? Like
put a couple of high.
Just to end it. Just put 2 of the top guys in. Put Scheffler in because we think he might go lower owned than.
Yeah. What about Scheffler and Answer? Would you combine them?
I was going to say Scheffler and Spieth. Go for the
Spieth. Wow.
Yeah.
Fine.
Let's put that in, and let's get really far down now. Let's get a couple of.
Who's the cheapest person? You mentioned him.
I love Denny McCarthy down there.
Let's put him in.
Let's put Denny McCarthy back in.
Now we're down to 14.
Let's get one more cheap guy, and then I reckon we can get back to page 2.
Well, I think we.
How about Smotherman?
Okay, let's put him in. He's not really popping for me this time, but yeah, there you go, 29.2. So it's actually, I think it's more page 3. So we need another cheap one, really. If you're not going to put Darman in, then if you do, you're still going to be in the same range, roughly.
Yeah, I don't like that. What about KH Lee? Did he make the cut last week? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He's made 3 straight cuts. And I mean, we haven't talked about him. He made 3 straight cuts, and he won the Byron Nelson putting contest.
He hasn't come up on my. He's only 40th in my model. Let's see what that gets us.
I wouldn't expect many of these guys to be popping within your model.
No, 14.6. So then that'd be Darman again. I mean, Spawners would be the guy for me there, but I think I'm on that hill.
How about Grillo? No?
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's more Scrubs and Stars this week. Those prices, but
yeah, it is, isn't it?
But that's definitely my least favourite.
Yeah, to be fair, you'd only need you only need them 4 guys to make the cut, and then as long as the other 2 perform like we know they can perform, then you're laughing, really.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you get 6 or 6 anyway, you're cashing, aren't you? Pretty much. So especially if it's going to be a low scoring week. a lower scoring week, not like the Byron, where 6 or 16 guarantee anything.
Lovely.
Yeah, cool. Oh well. That's the end of that. Wow.
And that's the end of that. And
That went
Mark,
quickly.
it did, and we've gone over the hour mark yet again. Mark, did you have any final thoughts for the listeners?
Oh, I wasn't prepared for this at all. No, I don't. What would Nick say? What would Nick say in this situation, Jack? What would he say?
So it's driving accuracy for show, irons for the dough this week. Have a great week, everyone. Head over to fanteam.com to sign up and play today. And yeah, get involved in this week's golf contest. Have a great week, everyone. Be a great week.